Well, tonight on the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, Representative Jasmine Crockett, she's a Democrat out of Texas. She went on the Black Lawyers podcast, and they were discussing reparations. Well, Jasmine Crockett brings up one of the suggestions they were given by a celebrity about Black Americans being tax-free as a form of reparations. But we need to discuss that. Let's go ahead and roll that clip.
Well, how do we decide who qualifies? I know in New York, the recent thing was, well, you have to absolutely be a descendant from a slave. You know, you can't be a Caribbean Black, or you can't be a Black person that maybe came to Africa and came later. So it's like, you know, what are your thoughts generally on reparations? Because again, I would like to see if it's going to happen, that it's kind of consistently rolled out across the board. I don't know how hard that would be, because I know each state likes to do, I know you're a congresswoman, you know, each state likes to do whatever they want to do, but I would like to see it as much as possible consistently rolled out. What are your thoughts?
I don't know about consistency. I mean, I think that's why you see someone like Sheila Jackson Lee, who has been a champion of reparations on the federal level, because there does need to be some continuity across the board. Otherwise, everybody gonna run to whichever state and be like, "Yo, I need mine," right? Exactly, right. And so, you know, we don't want to see that. This is something that definitely needs to be thought through. But when you have people that aren't even willing to do the studies, aren't willing to invest to make sure that we can roll this out the right way, and I think that's where we have to start. Just like anything else, we have to do the research. We have to figure out, what would this look like in cost if we did it this way, or what about us doing it this way? You know, I think just this past week I saw, I don't remember which celebrity, but it was actually a celebrity, and I was like, I don't know that that's not necessarily a bad idea, but I'd have to think through it a lot. One of the things that they propose is Black folk not have to pay taxes for a certain amount of time, because then again, that puts money back in your pocket. But at the same time, it may not be as objectionable to some people about actually giving out dollars. Yeah. But obviously then you start dealing with the different tax brackets and things like that. And that's one of the reasons that, you know, we argue the reparations make sense, because so many Black folk, not only do you owe for the labor that was stolen and killed and all the other things, right? But the fact is, like, we end up being so far behind, right? And so it's like, how do you bring forth people? Exactly. And so it's like, if you do the no tax thing for people that are already, say, struggling and aren't really paying taxes in the first place, it doesn't really, exactly.
They may want those checks like they got during COVID.
Exactly.
So let's go on and talk about this. And as you see the question we have on the screen, this is what I would say, and I want to explain where I'm coming from with this. Tax-free status for Black Americans should be in addition to reparations payments. And I'm going to tell you why. You got to have cash payment reparations. If you like, they were discussing about people had got money during the time of the pandemic, and that money during the pandemic helped a lot of people. So if those payments helped a lot of people in our community, then reparations would definitely help. Now, you maximize the reparations payments by giving Black Americans, you know, a time of tax-free status. Now, if it was up to me, I'd say 250 years, about the amount of years we were enslaved, right? I believe there's enough immigrants in this country as came here. Everybody all over the world have immigrated to this country, and they're paying taxes. I think our tax status should be we zero out. Now, they mentioned, well, if people don't have a lot of money, how a tax status, no taxes benefit them. I'm gonna tell you why. When you don't have money, them taking taxes out your check, that hurts. What if whatever you paid an hour, you get that? The only thing they would take out, let's say, would be Social Security and Medicare, right? But you won't be paying federal income tax. That would be beautiful. But at the same time, you wouldn't be getting a federal income tax back either. So that would be one trade-off with that, right? But if you have no tax status and you have the payments coming in constantly, then it maximizes your dollar. And if they put in any tax you have to pay, like sales tax or any kind of tax, then at the end of the year, you file your tax with the IRS and you get all your sales tax back. Any tax you have to pay, you get it back at the tax time. That would be actually perfect. But just to say zero tax for Black Americans as a form of reparations? No, because you got to have the capital. You got to have the money. You got to have that. If we don't have the money, then it's really not reparations. It's not. Now, people keep saying that how would they do it? The same way you're doing it for the Native Americans. You got money set aside for them every year. They're tax free, right? So the same thing you're doing for those Native Americans, you should do for Black Americans. And what I would say is this: let's call it what it is. I think they have been paid long enough, don't you think? A long time they've been paid. I think they have gotten their just due. So I think that program that they had, I think they need to give that program to Black Americans. Period. And make sure we pay it up. But see, let me tell y'all something. The reason why reparations is being discussed, it did not come from, she mentioned Sheila Jackson Lee. Sheila Jackson Lee did not start the discussion of reparations. It came from the grassroots. This conversation is going worldwide. You got world leaders discussing reparations. The president of Portugal was saying, hey, we owe some reparations. Now, the government in Portugal was saying, nah, we shouldn't have to pay no reparations. But if the president of Portugal is saying, yeah, we owe something, because the Portuguese were major slave traders, right? Then this conversation is not going away. See, the deal is for Black Americans, all you got to do is stand on business when it comes to reparations. It don't matter what them folks say. Why should I have to pay? My family didn't have a slave. Don't matter. It don't matter what your family didn't have. If you immigrated here, if your family came through Turtle Island and all of that, you've been enjoying this country that was built off of slavery. And especially if you're European, you came into a privilege. You was given homestead. You was given land. You was given all kind of things for just coming over here. Martin Luther King talked about that. That's why he said, hey, when we go to Washington, we got to get our check. That's why he said that, because everybody got to come over here from Europe as a peasant and get free land, free money, free, right? And then that's how their generational wealth got set up. Black Americans, they're getting free anything. So I don't even entertain people talking about would they not gonna pay? Why should they pay? I ain't even talking to you. You ain't nobody I need to talk to. We talking about the U.S. government. If state governments want to do it, local cities want to do it, fine. But we're going to continue to point out and talk about reparations. That conversation not going nowhere, no time soon. And that conversation getting louder and louder and louder and louder and louder because it's going to come. It's going to happen. Just like at one point in time, they said that Black Americans wouldn't get off the plantation. That happened. At one point in time, people say that Black Americans wasn't going to get out of Jim Crow. That happened. At one point in time, they were saying Black Americans wouldn't mount to anything. Well, that was a lie. So everything, they always say no to us. They always say we can't do what we not going to get, etc. And we always get all we have to do, brothers and sisters, is stand on our square. All we have to do is keep on keeping on. Keep on telling them, oh, no, reparations going to come. No, you owe reparations. And when you keep telling them you owe, they know they owe. That's why they don't like when we say that. They know we're owed reparations. The best thing for them to do is just go ahead and pay it. Go ahead and pay reparations and be done with it. You say you want to move on past slavery. Well, that's the best. That's the only way you're going to move on past slavery is reparations. Until you do reparations, you're never going to move on. We're never going to let it go. We're not going to stop talking about reparations, and we're going to continue to say you're responsible, your descendants responsible, you're enjoying a privilege and wealth that came through slavery, and you owe. We're going to keep telling you that. So if you don't want to hear that no more, pay what you owe, and then, hey, we ain't got nothing to say no more. Pay reparations in the form of cash payments and give us tax-free status so we can maximize those reparations. That money going to stay in the U.S. for the most part anyway. It's going to be a stimulus for the American economy anyway, because the majority of Black Americans are not going to take their money and go to Africa somewhere. They're not. The majority of them going to stay right here. So it'd be better for the economy. It'd be better for a lot of local businesses to go ahead and pay reparations. The money, the stimulus will come through Black American hands. It's just that simple. I know your anti-Black racism came fathom the thought of Black folks getting something and you don't get it. But hey, think about it like this. You've been getting privilege. You've been getting generational wealth. You've been getting loans, you've been getting homes, you've been getting everything, and black Americans haven't had they just do. Well, it's time. It's time for black Americans, and black Americans don't let that go. Don't stop talking about it. Keep screaming it from the rooftops, screaming it on the internet. Do not let reparations go. Because we own something now, brothers and sisters. We own something. Oh, we own something. Trust me. And, you know, we are getting toward the finish line of reparations a lot closer than what you think. When they discussing reparations at the UN, other countries are discussing reparations and what they have done. Oh, trust me, checks gonna start going out, and everybody, believe it or not, gonna benefit off of reparations. Even African countries gonna benefit from reparations because they owe them too. They owe the Caribbean too. So anybody should say this. Even if you are an immigrant here, you should support us getting reparations because then it's going to justify why the Caribbean should get reparations. And I support that. Then it justifies why the African continent, certain countries that was colonized by France and the British and all of them, for them to get reparations too. You understand? So that's why I'm telling all the brothers and sisters that's even immigrated here, support us getting reparations so we can make sure when we get ours that we can be speaking up about you getting your reparations. That's the way that works. We'll definitely support you getting reparations in the Caribbean and the African continent, but we got to get it here first, and that's our focus. Or we don't got time to focus on Gaza and all this other stuff. We ain't got that kind of time. We got to focus on reparations. Our kids need that. We need that. And it can be done in our lifetime, but we got to keep the focus. We got to get politicians in there who are pro-reparations. We got to do that all over black America. That's why I tell black Americans, all of you need to be registered to vote. All of you need a U.S. passport, and all of you need a driver's license. It's just that simple. Because when we get some pro-reparations candidates, we need to go vote for them ASAP. We need to have candidates that are for the community and not for a party. Period. So reparations, we're going to keep up the fight. We're going to keep on speaking. Jasmine Crockett, I hear you. I hear what you're saying and all of that. I saw kind of like your attitude about it at first, but you know what, Jasmine? You're going to have to vote for reparations, sister. Bottom line, you need to be the person in the Congressional Black Caucus saying, hey, we got to do reparations. We got to advocate for reparations, or we won't ever win again. And that's the truth. If y'all Democrats want the black vote, you're going to have to do reparations. It's just that simple because we're not playing by reparations no more. We need ours. We're watching y'all give all this money to everybody all over the world, giving all this resources to migrants and all of that in places like Chicago, places like New York. All that money is going all over the place to migrants, but we don't get our reparations. Oh, no. We got to have ours. It's just that simple.